Hey guys, sorry I can't be there with you today, but I'm here to help you move forward with your compositions. So firstly, if you haven't finished layer 2, the chords yet, you should finish that as soon as you can and submit it. In fact, I'm going to ask you to stop the video in a moment and submit it now. Here's how you do that. Here's my layer 2. Command S, I save it. And then I go into Finder, and there it is. I went into Music, into the Garageband folder, and there's Mr. Gaines' Layer 2 chords. And then you've just got to go to Google Classroom and go into the folder that's mentioned in the assignment called Layer 2 chords. Click in there, and then it's as simple as just dragging your file in there, and it'll upload. So if you haven't done that, please stop the video and do it now. All right, let's get into layer 3, the bass. First and foremost, the bass is low sound. So don't forget when you're playing your bass part that you should be playing on the left-hand side of your keyboard where the notes are quite low. The role of the bass is to provide a link between the drums or the rhythm and the chords. The rhythm of the bass part is related to what the drums play, and the notes that you choose to play on the bass are related to the chords. When you play a bass line, you only play one note at a time. You do not play chords on the bass. You can use the notes of chords because you know they're all going to work and fit in nicely, but you don't actually play them together. But you kind of make a low melody with them. So you go to add a new track, and you should select something from either bass, if you want an electric kind of bass, I mean a bass guitar. These all sound like bass guitars. Or if you want something a bit more electronic, go into synthesizer and then choose bass. And these are all pretty out there. And you'll notice that I'm playing on the low part of the keyboard. So as we were saying, what notes to play relates to the chord, and in particular you need to be aware of this concept of something called the root note of the chord. That just means the letter, the note name that appears in the name of your chord. So for instance, my two chords are A minor and E minor. The root note of A minor is just A, and minor is a type of chord, so that's the note A and the type of chord is minor. And the root note of the E minor chord is E. So a bass line will be heavily built around these low notes. So I've already done a couple of bass lines here, and I'm using this instrument called synth E bass, and it sounds like this. And the first part I've done, I'm just going for something simple. I'm thinking my chord progression is 2 bars of A minor and 2 bars of E minor, and I've got my chords to prove it there. Switch to E minor. So the first kind of bass I'm going to go for is really simple. I'm just going to try playing eighth notes, which means 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I'll do that for 2 bars on the note A and 2 bars on the note E. So here we go. Let's try this one out. And that works pretty well. The next one that I've recorded here is instead of 8th notes, it's 16th notes. So instead of, it's going to be, here, have a listen to it. And that adds a pretty cool sense of urgency to the track. There's another one I tried down here where I used the notes of the chord. So I'm using, for the A minor chord, I'm using the notes A, C, and E. So those are the notes of the chord. And for the E minor chord, I'm using E's, G's, or B's. But I'm playing a lot fewer notes, as you can see just by looking. There's a lot more space in the bass line. Now, I really like both this one and the 16th notes. So maybe in my track, I can start out with the easier going one like this. And later in the track, switch over to this one. Another one that I tried that was quite fun is this one, which relates to the drums. What I've done is I've made the bass notes, the rhythm of them, exactly the same as my kick drum. Here's the kick drum pattern. Now that was kind of too hard to play exactly. So what I've done is I've gone in here and I've selected just the kick drums for my 2-bar pattern and copied them with Command C. And then I've created, I'll just delete it and do it again for you. I've created a new MIDI region, right click, and made it 4 bars long, because that's how long my my chord progression is. And I'll go in there, oops, and I'm going to put the cursor, the playhead there, and paste in my bass drum notes. So there they are. And I'll do it again for my 4 bars. So let me just get rid of that. There we go. So now I have there, because you remember the bass drum is C1. Now my chords aren't C, it's A minor and E minor. So if I play it right now, it'll sound odd. So the bass notes need to move with the chord and they're not. But that's okay, that's really easy to fix. What I'm going to do here is select the first 2 bars, so bar 17 and bar 18, just all those bass notes, and I'm going to just move them till they're A. And then I'm going to take the second bar of bass notes, which is the exact same rhythm as the kick drum, and I'm going to move them to E. Have a listen to this. And lastly, if you want to do some interesting stuff, you can also use the other notes of the chord. So make the other notes of the A minor chord are A, C, and E. Oops, so there's a C, and it even tells you that it's C2. I might make this one here an E. Let's have a listen to how that sounds. It's pretty cool. And you can do the same with the E chord. So I might make that a G, because I'm looking at E, G, and B. And I could do these, say these 4 notes as Bs. Oh, they're meant to be Bs. I had them as B flats. But you get the idea. So when you've completed that, you can upload that as well. Good luck.